Welcome back to Mind, Body, Speech. Today we're going to be talking about processing in chunks versus step-by-step. We've talked about Gestalt language processing before and analytic language processing. If this doesn't sound familiar to you, please feel free to check out our video on Gestalt language processing. So what is step-by-step versus chunk processing? So someone who processes in whole or chunks, we call them Gestalt language processors. This means that they might look at the whole of something before they break it down and learn the steps. For example, a child who processes in whole or Gestalt pieces for learning to go up the stairs might watch someone go up the stairs many times and will not try to do it themselves. Finally, when they're ready, they will simply walk up the stairs. For a child that's an analytic processor who processes step by step, that learning process will look like going up the stairs, falling down, going up 2 steps, falling down, going up 1 step and falling down, until finally they can go step by step by step and by step. Another example of someone who processes in chunks would be playing with toys that have lots of pieces. A kid who processes in chunks or whole will want to make sure that this puzzle or this toy has all of the pieces and it is a complete set. They will be very upset if there's anything missing or if there's anything that's broken, because if you break it, it's like you have upset the entire whole or chunk. For a child that is an analytic processor, they might learn to put a toy together or a puzzle together step by step by step. They might take pieces away, they might add them back in, but all in all, they are less likely to be very upset if this toy is missing a piece. For speech and language, Gestalt processors will often memorize whole songs or videos, and to them, that entire song or video will have a particular experience or meaning to them. So in using that entire script, and this could be an entire song from beginning to end, that has a single experience or meaning that they will use, and that is what we call or Gestalt. A kid who learns step by step might pick out certain words, or they might learn parts of the song and then add to it later. And this child will be learning also, if you're learning to dance to the song, maybe they'll learn one little piece of it at a time. And at the very end, they'll be able to put it together into a whole song with all of the actions that go with it. The last example that I have for someone who processes in whole versus chunk is going to be someone who is learning the steps to do cooking or something a little more complex. Someone who processes in wholes is going to be a little more oriented around the entire process, and it might take longer. This might even look like that they're learning it much slower because they're having to process the entire thing first before they attempt to do it. So learning how to cook a pancake, for example. You have your batter, you pour your water, you put your egg in, then you put it on the pan, and then you cook it, and then you take it off when it's brown. So someone who processes in a whole, they might be learning that as an entire chunk, rather than first step 1, then step 2, then step 3. For our children who are Gestalt language processors, we take this into account when we are talking to them about language or when we are showing them how to do something, because it will be much more difficult to treat them as an analytic processor and make them do 1 step, then 1 step, then 1 step, then 1 step. Sometimes it is better for their learning style to show them the whole process and help them to either mitigate that means taking off 1 piece and putting it back on, or to help them learn the entire thing, repeat it back, and repeat parts of it together. So those are just some of the ways that you might see analytic versus chunk processing. One thing to note is that most people do both. It's very rare that you have someone that is completely a chunk processor or completely an analytic processor. Everyone learns differently. Those who are more likely to do complete chunk processing are what we refer to as the Gestalt language processors. But keep in mind that most Gestalt language processors also process step by step for some things. So you can think of some ways that you process this way, either in whole or in pieces. Did you learn that song all the way through before you knew the words and you just have it in your head as a whole? Or did you learn it step by step and word by word? Was there a particular poem or book that you can remember how it goes all the way through? Is there a particular puzzle or toy that you remember as a child that you would put together and it was always put together in that way? So consider for yourselves if there are any ways in your life that you process as a whole or as step by step. And let us know in the comments if there are any interesting anecdotes that you have from your life that might show one way or another way of processing. Thank you, Cassie, for your question in our comments section. If anybody else has any comments or questions, please let us know. We'd love to do some more videos on things that questions that people have and things that people are wondering. Thank you for watching our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.